The notification illuminated my phone screen. As I extinguished the candles on, laughter filled my birthday cake. Restaurant where my pals are raising their glasses raised to commemorate another year of my existence. However, the instant I observed his name appear, the world surrounding me became indistinct. My name is Chrissy and I at 39 have received the most merciless communication in. Hello Chrissy. I simply wished to be forthright with. I discovered a superb individual. Younger, more attractive, and genuinely an improvement. Put our funds into my personal account. The account seemed equitable as I was the one involved. Maximizing the opportunity anyway, without difficulty. Enjoy your emotions. Birthday. A breath ensnared in my throat. The words illuminated my screen like a neon inscription articulating. I did not visibly respond to the treachery. Handshakes devoid of abrupt inhalations or tears. Moisture is accumulating in my eyes. If someone at the table observed something, it seemed likely. I abruptly adjusted my seating position. The more aligned my smile got, more acute in place of. I responded with a single word, no rage, nor desperation, merely a tranquil simplicity. Response due to Nathan's omission. Recognize what he had never contemplated. His exaggerated sense of superiority was that I had been attentive to. Nathan had consistently exhibited arrogance for months. Initially, it constituted an aspect of his allure. Confidence in his eloquence might render anything as if it were. This concept even when it. Initially, there was no change, however. Circumstances began to evolve. The abrupt late-night work shifts. If his company did not mandate. His phone is always with him. Confront the manner in which he would elevate his eyes in exasperation. When I referred to future plans as though I was stupid to even consider that we possessed a. Initially, it pertained to the future and finances. Minor details regarding his Venmo transactions. Abruptly transforming. Postponed in abrupt apprehension over mutual expenditures incurred when he used to pay for meals. Absent. Initial uncertainty followed by the prominent warning signal. He proposed that we relocate our shared arrangement this month. Deposits to an account under his name. It is simply more convenient that way. Spoken with a dismissing gesture of his hand. I am more proficient with finances. My dear, ensure that we are. I smiled, nodded, and allowed him to believe. He had persuaded me that the same. In the afternoon, I entered my bank. I started a new account. I did not deplete our resources. Combined savings are not entirely sufficient. I have been very apparent, hence. I retracted. Sufficiently over time that he would not. Observe that I have relocated my share into the new. Accounting for a little remainder. Maintain pace. Appearances. And now on my birthday. Nathan was well aware of the events that transpired. Believed he had triumphed. Deprived me of everything. Accompanied by the fact that he was on the verge of learning. The difficult manner in which he was mistaken. It was 1 hour after his text that my phone contacted again, this time approximately mutual acquaintance. I am uncertain how to articulate this to my account. Chrissy, Nathan has officially announced his new girlfriend on Instagram. He explicitly published. The transformation is genuine. Out with the. Integrate with the. I am infuriated on your behalf. I clicked the. Indeed, he was present, as shown in the link. A hotel suite with an arm wrapped around a woman who could not have exceeded 22 elongated legs, ideal hair of the kind, effortless beauty that compelled admiration. Double takes Melissa, the same Melissa he had informed me was merely a companion. Melissa, whom he had vowed was irritating and naive, and yet she was enveloped around him like a trophy he had recently acquired. The remarks were ruthless, acceptable, significant enhancement for the king. My friend has elevated his status from economy class. She must be a first-class individual. Weeping. How mistaken they were. I was not. I was crying while waiting for Nathan, who assumed he had outwitted me, as he anticipated I would act. The actions of every lady in his history. Disintegrate. Implore for resolution. Descend into a cycle. Heartbreak, nevertheless, is the issue with arrogance. Men consistently underestimate. He had forgotten the ladies he betrayed. whose name was on the lease of our apartment he had neglected to recall, whose credit the card he had utilized for table 6 months he had overlooked, that I was the one who had accumulated our savings while he had solely contributed verbally. Numbers. I gazed at my phone at the caption accompanying the photographs in the comments. Were intended to degrade me. And I. Nathan had initiated the initial move with a smile. However, I was on the verge of completing the final one. Nathan was convinced he had already triumphed. Believed he had seized the monetary authority. And the advantage, however, of what he possessed. Effectively positioned himself for an autumn so magnificent that even he would not perceive it. There will be a domino effect. Upon reaching the count of 3, 2, 1, the initial action I undertook. Upon arriving home, I replaced the locks. Nathan had never taken the initiative to place his. The name on the lease has consistently been mine. The apartment is my responsibility, as it is under my name. All official documents. Why are you completing all that paperwork? He is significantly more proficient at that than I am. Said upon our relocation. And now that procrastination would incur expenses for him from the landlord. There was no issue when I contacted to have the locks have been changed. You are the sole individual on the premises. Chrissy, you are free to do as you like. By midnight, Nathan no longer possessed a want residence to return to at 1 a.m. I got the initial indication that reality was commencing to absorb in a singular text from Nathan. This is quite unusual, but I believe the key is malfunctioning. Could you grant me access? Allow the message to remain unread. Unanswered. Another inquiry arose 15 minutes later. Chrissy, what is occurring? I require assistance. Retrieve some of my belongings. I still stated. No action due to Nathan's belongings obstructing the suits, the watches and the sneakers he purchased. Fortune acquired but never tended to. All that he had forsaken was already contained in refuse bags and positioned in the corridor outside when he attempted to. Upon re-entering his former life, he would discover himself gazing at a locked door, regarding his possessions as if he were an outsider. Restrain, however. This was merely the commencement. At 8 o'clock hours the following morning, I placed a call to our bank. I need to report fraud. Joint activity. Consider the voice of the customer service representative. Shown politeness yet maintained firmness. Fraudulent activities. Ma'am, I conducted a thorough examination. Prepare to articulate the words that would upend Nathan's financial situation. Was removed without my consent, and I possess textual evidence that my former partner acquired the funds with intent to harm. Pause. Then would you be able to transmit those communications regarding our scam? I am pleased to have sent the department, of course. Verification within minutes by 9:30 a.m. Nathan's own bank account, the one he transferred all of our funds with great pride, was frozen pending an investigate. The subsequent text from Nathan. The arrival was timely. Schedule. Chrissy, what actions did you take regarding my bank? The account is locked, and I am unable to access it, as I consumed my morning coffee prior. Responding, is it? Odd. Perhaps you ought to make a call. Your bank contacted him, and that was quite a call. It must have been, I presume, the time the spokesman stated that his account was suspended due to fraudulent activity. Grievance regarding lack of access to a singular aroma until the issue was determined that the embezzled money was not as securely concealed as he had. I believed I envisioned the gradual awareness overwhelming him with the realization of his grand upgrade. Things did not go as planned for Melissa. Aspirations for a luxurious vacation have just been shattered and incinerated, and that I was not the simpleton. He believed I was Nathan, who had made a reservation rental vehicle for his excursion with Melissa. Ostentatious convertible, as expected. Did I know this because I had observed a confirmation email notification appears on our shared platform. iPad acquired weeks ago. And what about the credit? The card he utilized. He had foolishly left the card mine. Information is recorded in the system. I believe. Will not be observed till 10 a.m. I made my second telephone call of the hello. I need to report an unauthorized incident. Credit transaction. The rented car was due by noon. Cancelled, and thus Nathan and Melissa lacked transportation to their anticipated destination. Began existence at precisely 12:17 p.m. Nathan's phone rang. I allowed it to proceed to voicemail after 1 minute. Subsequent coffee, culminating by the 5th. I ultimately contacted Chrissy. I need to rectify this, my bank account is frozen. The rental has been cancelled. And my belongings are in the trash. Luggage situated outside the flat you have created. Your point is acknowledged. I grinned while twisting my coffee spoon held between my fingers. Nathan, I have not yet. Nathan began to unravel. Discern it in his tone. Perceive it in his messages. Sense it in his desperation. Yet I had not concluded, not by post-shot. A remote possibility due to the lack of purpose in. Seek retribution against the individual who betrayed you. Lacks a comprehensive understanding of. There. I intended to ensure Nathan's involvement. Experienced the full extent of the repercussions he had inflicted. Himself and the advantageous aspect he retained. Unaware of the extent of the trap. Establish Nathan's subsequent astute maneuver had. Reserved a luxury hotel suite for himself and Melissa offers 5-star elegance with ocean views. Private balcony, a whimsical excursion intended to serve as the final enhancement to his upgrading to a improved life. However, he failed to compensate. Pay heed to the details. For when he appropriated all our funds into his personal account, and that account was frozen for fraudulent activity has caused the pending hotel charges to be declined. Precisely at 3 p.m. Nathan and Melissa came at the hotel attired for a unaffordable vacation. I longed to witness his expression when the receptionist courteously informed, I apologize, sir, but your money was declined, and regrettably, we have had to discharge your. Melissa must have made a reservation. Elated because 30 minutes later, the phone vibrated with an unidentified number. I already knew the identity of the caller. So I responded, maintaining a cheerful tone. Greetings for a brief moment. It was not Nathan who remained silent, but Melissa. Her voice was constricted with frustration. Chrissy, I understand. Our relationship is peculiar, yet I did not allow her complete the upgrade. Melissa, how is it progressing? Administering care to you. Quiet followed by a sudden inhalation from her. I require clarification on whether we can implement a solution to rectify this issue. Nathan stated that you have suspended his account. Nathan laughed and stated that he did. He also mentioned how he stole things that were not his. His departure on my birthday. Similar to a complete. Melissa, the coward, breathed sharply, observing me. I was unaware of any of that. I understand now. I believed I had severed ties with her once again. Believed he was an innocent victim of misunderstanding. Individual requiring rescue. I presume I informed you that I was exercising cold control. Did not endorse his. The stillness on the other end conveyed dreams. Provide me with all the necessary information. Melissa was ultimately recognizing that she had been participated insufficiently and belatedly while Nathan. I was urgently attempting to determine a method of payment. For a hotel he could not afford. The internet was abuzz because of Nathan, the excessively self-assured socialite. Media-obsessed fool that he was. Prematurely shared details about his new life. Numerous individuals observed the commencement of the comment. Exhibiting much confidence prematurely. Elmo envisions abandoning your girlfriend for enhance merely to become insolvent within 24 hours. Melissa released a breath arrived with expedited shipping. This one includes those that were unfamiliar with me. Personally were dismantling him and subsequently, the moment I anticipated occurred. Awaited his superior. Observed at 4:45 p.m. My phone vibrated again. Nathan. Acquired this moment solely to listen to him. Chrissy, you must cease this behavior. Began immediately. His voice subdued. Manipulated as if attempting to convey. Tranquil yet was. Ceasing my smile. I failed to comprehend what was occurring. Nathan, you are fully aware of my superior's expectations. Contacted me. Today. I pretended. What is the reason for Nathan's actions that caused surprise? Emitted a sardonic laugh due to. It appears that certain colleagues at my workplace observed my Human Resources is now involved in the Instagram post. Indeed, his organization was engaged. Rigorous non-fraternization policy. And Nathan had been in a romantic relationship with a subordination. Melissa was not merely an arbitrary. She was a junior staff member at his company and now corporation had questions. Nathan believed he was posing to intimidate me into retreating. He nonetheless did not comprehend the extent to which he had. I have already lost, so I choose to articulate it. Nathan, let us procure something for him. I did not take any action against you. You are responsible for this. You embezzled our funds. You undermined yourself and relinquished control. The moment you underestimated him, my respiration intensified. I swear to God. Chrissy. No. Nathan, you must not invoke God's name in vain. You pledge to yourself that the next occasion you. Please allow me to stop being so foolish now. I have ideas to enhance your quality of life. If you can still sustain. I terminated his calls. Nathan persistently contacted me, but I did not respond. Losing control of everything he possessed, assertively appropriated for himself, was passing between his fingers like granules of sand. Without funds, there is no accommodation and no vehicle. Residence and currently lacking work stability as well. Nathan was not the sort to succumb. He was not the type of person to be silent. Self-immolated solely for the purpose of sensation. As though he retained control. Which signified. His subsequent action was the most foolish. Departure of all at 9 a.m. the next. In the morning, I was awakened by a knock at my door. Neither a text nor a call, but a knock. I observed through the peephole. Officer Chrissy Walker inquired about the uniform. Upon opening the door, I maintained a composed expression. Indeed, that is I. Is there an issue we need to address? Obtained a report concerning stolen property. Your former boyfriend, Nathan Carter, asserts that you have unlawfully retained items that pertain to. I nearly laughed audibly. Did he? He particularly referenced certain individuals. Designer watches, a laptop, and several. I stood back, signaling to the suits hallway where Nathan's refuse is bagged. Belonging remained amidst all he abandoned. He is immediately present and unblemished behind me. To obtain it, the officer examined the bags. Thus, you have not obstructed him from. I can't access his property, but I still own it. Restricted his access to my apartment, my finances, and my existence are interconnected. Criminal activity. The cop did not smirk. Ma'am, appears to be a civil issue rather than a. We will be closing this criminal case. Grievance. And similarly, Nathan's lamentable endeavor to coerce me. Ineffectual law enforcement operation. 2 hours later, my phone vibrated. Once more, a call from a recognizable number. Melissa. I contemplated disregarding it, yet. Hello, I responded, maintaining my curiosity. Tone light. Chrissy, I require the information. Melissa's voice emerged strained, with frustration at the extent of your involvement in this matter. I reiterated the strategy, seeming to be perplexed. What precisely are you alleging against me? Melissa, do not feign ignorance. His employment is at risk. Accounts are suspended, and he is now staying at my residence as if one were destitute. Former fraternity member. This is not merely a matter of misfortune. I smiled while spinning my coffee. Melissa, may I pose a question to you? Did Nathan ever explain why he and I shared the aforementioned financial institution account? Did he ever say the name in silence? Is listed on the apartment lease or how he is? Have been relying on my credit cards for additional months. Silence. Then gently, nearly, he added, fiercely, that you owed him that. Funds that you were managing. You would never permit him to own any. Independence elicited a brief laugh from me. He persuaded you that appropriating my belongings. It was only him reclaiming control. A classic maneuver. Melissa exhaled. Regrettably, I acted foolishly. Contend that she was indeed the definitive blow to Nathan's prospects occurred at 3 days later. His firm formally terminated his employment. Not solely due to the workplace relationship scandal, although detrimental. Sufficient, although due to HR's assessment of his. The cost report indicates that Nathan is involved. had been compensating himself for fraudulent business dinners he had even reimbursed. Hotel stays that I had not even discovered, however. His arrogance was not merely. It was professional, not personal. Nathan was genuinely contemplating suicide. Departed with nothing during the final occasion. Nathan contacted me only once. 1 week ago. Subsequently, his name appeared on my screen. However, rather than dismissing it, I responded. Chrissy wished to hear it, he commenced his hollow voice. You. I refrained from speaking and allowed the words to unfold. Nathan sighed. I do not understand. You did not even attempt to obtain it. You did not shout back at me. Engage in conflict. Yet you let total disintegration around. I inhaled deeply and then ultimately. Nathan, you accomplished all of this too. I did not need to confront you. Merely witnessed your destruction. I quietly disrupted the silence. I grinned. And you did as well. I terminated the call, banned his number, and have not contacted him since. Upon reflection, Nathan had vanished, obstructed, eliminated a specter from my past, however. The remnants of his devastation persisted, disseminating, while I was indifferent, as I had already. Nathan progressed, however. He was still acquiring knowledge. The difficult way that when one constructs your existence is predicated on falsehoods. Arrogance leaves nothing remaining when it all crumbles. It did not take long for the news to any information regarding Nathan's decline. Friends betrayed him with remarkable swiftness. He could state the enhancement of his colleagues. They had already observed the indicators preceding his termination, and his family is where things get complicated. Particularly intriguing due to an afternoon. I received a message from an unfamiliar number. It was Linda, Nathan's mother. I paused prior to opening it, however. Curiosity prevailed. Linda Chrissy, I recognize that you are not obligated to me. Anything but that. May we converse? I gazed at I sent a message briefly before responding. It depends. Are you about to assign responsibility to me for something? Her response was, your son's life is deteriorating. I just received Linda's number immediately. I require the truth that he refuses to disclose. All I perceive are fragments of the narrative from another perspective. Individuals found it intriguing due to, if his mother were not advocating for him, it signified that Nathan's charm had. I officially ran out and promised to meet her. Drinking coffee, not due to my concern about Nathan, as I was curious to observe how the extent of the devastation he had inflicted upon himself while I entered the cafe where Linda was present. Fatigued as if she has aged 5 years. Merely a handful. She expressed her gratitude for meeting me weeks ago. Agitating her tea. Absently, I require to comprehend the manner in which your youngster overexerted himself, and I shrugged it off. He believed he was untouchable. He believed he was more intelligent than. Linda groaned. He informed us that you were manipulating, that you attempted to sabotage. I laughed, shook my head, and asked him to tell me. Linda, what does controlling signify to you? Nathan, as best as I can ascertain, it implies not allowing him to evade responsibility. She did not dispute whatever he desired. The fact that she confessed that we have spoiled him, consistently extricated him from his mistakes. His father and I believed we were providing assistance. However, I now recognize that we only facilitated his behavior. To hope he would never encounter reality. I experienced the repercussions after taking a drink of my coffee. Allowing her words. Then she inquired about the truth. Is there any possibility of a return? Chrissy? 4. I contemplated it. Then I articulated the sole aspect I was aware of. Not truly aware until he recognizes that he is the issue, as indicated by her expression. I was aware that she had already comprehended the answer. Received fragmented information over the subsequent few months later. Nathan returned to reside with his parents seemingly provided him. Under these circumstances, there will be no complementary funds. Irresponsible expenditure and certainly no further girlfriends utilizing him as a means to advance the stone, which was ironic due to Melissa. Terminated their relationship 1 week subsequent to our final encounter. Speculation regarding the enhancement became less enjoyable once the funds were depleted. While Nathan was occupied reconstructing his, I was flourishing in life. Having built everything from the ground up, I commenced a promotion on my travels, side business, and for the initial duration in years during which I experienced total freedom, none. No more waiting for someone to mature. Increased ambulation. Eggshells are no longer part of a game in which the sole method to achieve victory was to depart the table. Completely one day almost a year later I received a message request on social media. Nearly overlooked it, but then I observed my name is Nathan, and my curiosity overwhelmed me. I contacted Nathan, acknowledging the passage of time. I have long desired to express my apologies. I made an error, I ought to have treated you better. I like not to have any expectations. Yet I wished to inform you that. I gazed at the message for an extended while. At that point, I removed it, unanswered due to certain apologies arrived too tardily. Nathan was but a distant memory now, an instructive narrative serving as a warning. All that I shall never endure again. While he was still attempting to crawl, method to extricate himself from the predicament he created, my life was progressively improving. The most advantageous aspect is that I not only endured his presence, I flourished due to betrayal for a year. Had elapsed since that dreadful birthday, following the absurd text message in which Nathan announced he was enhancing his existence at my expenditure, and upon examining the location, it became evident who possessed. I truly prevailed because this constituted my reality. My career has now experienced exponential growth in the side business I initiated. It commenced upon the removal of eliminate financial parasites from your life and your finances. My account flourishes. I have discovered love once more. Really mature and respectful relationship with someone who was not necessitated. Deconstruct me merely to assert your masculinity. Traversed the globe while Nathan was. I was confined to my parents' basement, touring urban areas and sampling diverse cuisines. Ultimately, I am living for myself. I no longer require revenge due to my achievement being self-evident. Nonetheless, life possesses its own manner of resolving unresolved matters. It occurred at I nearly did not attend a mutual friend's wedding. Proceeding, however, an intuition suggested something was unfolding to be worthwhile, and I was correct since, upon entering, I immediately observed him, Nathan, slouched at a table in the corner, tending an inexpensive beer that bears no resemblance to anyone who previously believed he was superior to. His once meticulously coiffed hair, disheveled, his costly suits have now been substituted by a poorly fitted dress shirt, his assured signature. I nearly felt sympathy for him. Nearly. Until our gazes intersected, and I sensed the remorse. The type of remorse that penetrates profoundly your bones upon the realization that you exchange. I exchanged gold for tin foil, providing him with a little quantity. I offered a kind grin before turning back to my date. The attractive, accomplished man seated next to me is the individual who genuinely respected. Nathan observed my progression. Subsequently, that evening, he ultimately assembled he had the audacity to approach me as I observed him approaching. However, I feigned ignorance until he cleared his throat and addressed Chrissy, saying, "Hey." I turned, affording him a courteous yet indifferent gaze. Nathan shuffled uncomfortably as you observed. I smirked, aware of his lips pressing against mine, into a slender line. I presume you are aware of all aspects of my job pertain to Melissa. Nodded in affirmation. He emitted a brief, acrid laugh. I suppose you are quite pleased with the current circumstances. I tilted my head, and it turned out as such. Upon reflection, I responded negatively. Nathan, I do not contemplate you sufficiently to experience either happiness or unhappiness over it. His expression changed. I simply am. I apologize, Chrissy, for all that has transpired. I wish I could change it. Might endure it. I sighed while swirling the champagne. You do not comprehend my glass. Do you? I do not require what I obtained with a smile. Despite the frown, I never offered my apology since as soon as you departed. You liberated me. I indicated the exquisite life I have constructed all I have ever desired. I desired, and I allowed my sight to wander. Of his deteriorated. Your appearance is precisely what you own. You merit the cleansing of his jaw, however. He had. There is nothing more to express as. Fundamentally, he. I was certain in my correctness as I departed. I experienced. Lighter than I have ever experienced before. Nathan was once an integral aspect of my existence, however. That is all he will ever be, a relic of the past. Erroneous instruction, acquired knowledge, and the most ironic aspect is that he once believed that abandoning me would be his greatest achievement, yet, in actuality, it was mine, as I had triumphed in the soul conflict, the paramount struggle for survival. Embrace love more profoundly and refuse to compromise. Decrease once more.